All right, let's talk about time travel. No, not with some fancy machine, but with grammar. That's right. Today, we're diving into the secret time machine that's built right into the English language. We're talking about unreal conditionals.
I mean, who hasn't, right? We all get lost in those what-if moments. What if I'd taken that other job? Or what if I was living somewhere completely different right now? It's part of being human, wondering about those other paths.
And look, I know it sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, but I promise you, it's real. These grammatical tools we're about to unpack, unreal conditionals, they are your personal time machine. They let you visit a past, a present, and a future that never actually happened, all just by tweaking a sentence. How cool is that?
Okay, so for our first trip, let's visit a parallel present. You know, a reality that could be happening right now if just one little thing was different. And to get there, we're going to need our first tool, the second conditional. So you can think of this as your portal, your doorway to a universe running right alongside ours. It's perfect for talking about things that are, a bit unlikely, or maybe even totally impossible right now. It is literally the language of daydreaming. Now, the structure here is super important, so lean in. Look at that if clause. We're using the past simple tense, right? Words like if I had or if I knew. But here's the twist. We're actually talking about the present or the future. That little step back in time, that's the secret code. It's the grammatical signal that tells everyone, hey, we've just jumped into a hypothetical world.
I mean, take this classic example. Do I actually expect to win the lottery? Probably not. It's a super unlikely future. But the sentence structure itself does all the work. It perfectly signals that this is just a dream, a fun what-if. It lets us all explore that fantasy for a second, and nobody gets confused.
And this thing is incredibly flexible. You can use it for those big future dreams, like the lottery, or for imagining a different present, like if I had a car. And of course, for giving advice, the classic, if I were you. And that's a cool little detail, by the way. We use were for everybody. I, he, she, not was. It's this formal little grammatical quirk that shows you're literally stepping into their shoes to give advice.
Okay, so we've explored a different now. That was fun. But what about the big one? What about changing what's already happened? It's time to power up the time machine to full throttle, because we're about to learn how to rewrite the past. This, my friends, is where the real journey begins.
This is the language of hindsight, pure and simple. The third conditional lets us look back at a door that's already closed and imagine what could have been. And it's so powerful because it's almost always tied to our emotions, right? Things like regret, or even relief, or just that burning curiosity of what if. Okay, the structure here looks a little more complex, but trust me, it's perfectly logical. The if clause uses the past perfect, if I had studied. Think of this as dialing in the coordinates on our time machine to a specific point before something else happened in the past. Then, the main clause, the would have part, shows us the alternate result, the timeline that never actually happened.
This example, this is the third conditional in a nutshell. You can just feel the regret, can't you? The reality is simple. I didn't study, so I didn't pass. End of story. But this one sentence, wow. It creates this perfect little miniature story of an alternate past, a universe where I did make a different choice and got a totally different result.
Okay, let's put these two side by side for a second. The key difference is just your destination. The second conditional, that's your ticket to a different now or an unlikely future. The third conditional, that's your time machine for rewriting yesterday. If you can just remember that time focus, you've pretty much mastered both.
All right, pop quiz time. It's your turn. Take a look at this sentence. The big clue here is the word yesterday, so we know we're traveling to the past. What tool do we need from our toolkit to imagine a different past? I'll give you a second to think about it.
And there it is. If it hadn't rained, that sets our past condition. And we would have gone, that's our imagined result. So in reality, it poured, and you were stuck at home. But with just one sentence, you've literally gone back and changed the weather. That's power.
Okay, deep breath. You've mastered visiting parallel presents. You've rewritten the past. Now, it's time for the expert level, combining them. This is where things get really interesting, where we can see how one single choice can create ripples across time.
Now, this might sound super complex, but really, it's just a simple two-step process. It's like grammatical surgery. You take the if part from one conditional and the result part from another, and you just stitch them together. And what you get is this incredible cause and effect chain that jumps across timelines.
Okay, so there are two main flavors of these. The first one is super common, a past action that affects right now. If I had listened to my mother, that's the past part, right? I would be rich now, and that's the result in the present. The second type is a little more subtle. It's a present state, like a personality trait that affected something in the past. If she weren't so shy, that's just who she is in general, she would have talked to him.
Okay, your turn again. Ready? Look at the time markers in this sentence. We've got a past condition, right, studying harder, and we've got a present result, having a better job now. So we need to build a bridge from a past what if to our current reality. How are you going to build that bridge?
Yes, you got it. The if part takes the past perfect from the third conditional, if I had studied, and the result part grabs the structure from the second conditional, I would have a better job now. Boom, you've just perfectly connected your past self to your present reality.
And just like that, you've got the keys to the time machine. Seriously, you now know how to navigate all these hypothetical timelines. So let's do a super quick recap of the amazing toolkit you've just picked out.
All right, here's your toolkit in its simplest form. The second conditional, that's for daydreaming about today. The third conditional, that's for looking back at yesterday. And mixed conditionals, they show you how yesterday and today are always connected.
Simple as that.
See, this is so much more than just grammar rules. It's a completely new way to think about our choices, our regrets, and our biggest dreams. It's one of the most powerful tools for storytelling that exists. So go on, explore those paths not taken. The only question left is, what story are you going to tell?